Well, hello. This is Jay, just trying to see what it's like to live stream. I watch quite a few folks do this whole YouTube online thing, and I thought, gee, why not? I do have a bit of a YouTube presence for noobs. Actually, I don't even know what you call that. I know there are people millions. I don't even have 200, followers, but I do appreciate the people that do come in and check in on me and do look at the uploads. And I'm kind of curious to see what range of audience members I have. If you'll notice from my videos, the very early ones, of course, were me being a single dad and having my son and watching him grow, which was the most fun and the most rewarding and just it was my reason for a living. But as a lot of you may already know, I have some very bad family problems that um, made me lose my child at when he became a teenager. So, anyways, I decided I would like to keep broadcasting things that are interesting to me, and since that is kind of off of the radar for now, I've been investing my time in cars, cars quite a bit, doing a lot of car stuff. Plus, I have a drone that I thought would be really interesting to fly and get control of. So I've been posting some videos of that. It has a nice resolution to it. It's a Mavic Air, the first gen Mavic Air. So it's got a 4K camera. It takes pretty good pictures, and it's fairly easy to control. So I was just wondering, maybe you guys would give me feedback on what content you like to see, and any ideas on what I could be moving on doing forward for my YouTube channel. I'm a big fan of movies, so I do watch a lot of movie reviews on YouTube. I watch a ton of movies, whenever I can. My favorite genre is psychological thriller, but I also like adventure and drama. I'm a big fan of some of those HBO shows, starting with like Sopranos, all the way up to Game of Thrones. That was a lot of fun to binge watch. Huge fan of Firefly. Trying to think if there's anything else. Well, one of the things I've been doing with car situation is, trying to get some nice deals on some really cool old cars, and then kind of, doing whatever needs to be done to them, and then sell them. Maybe make a quick profit. It's not something I've done ever before. I don't know necessarily that I'll be able to do that because, I think there's a certain limit of how many cars you can sell without being a dealer, that you need to take steps to be set up as a dealer. So I don't know that I'm really going to get that heavy into it. But my car collection over time is pretty cool. I started off with a 1982 280ZX that I bought with my own money. That was my first car that I ever bought on my own. My parents did purchase for me a 1974 four-door Chevy Impala back in the day. That was a big old car. It had a 350 V8 under the hood, and it was a two-door Impala from the 70s. So it's not even the cool lowrider ones that you got from the 60s that are worth tons of money now. But anyways, after that, because they wanted something big and safe, and I'm like, it's big, and the safe part is kind of neutralized by the fact that this thing's huge, and I'm afraid I'm going to hit anything on the road. So I wound up swapping with my father, who likes those older cars, and I picked up his 4-speed 1980 Datsun 310. I don't know if any of you guys have seen these cars before or even familiar with them, but before Nissan became Nissan, it was Datsun for a long time. The Datsun, they made the 240Z, which is a phenomenal sports car, arguably probably the first real sports car that was a success here in the States. But anyway, so the Datsun 310 was a front-wheel drive, two-door hatchback, and it was just fun. It wasn't a fast car. It was a 2-liter, carbureted, but it had front-wheel drive and a 4-speed transmission. And I remember this because the transmission stick, the stick shift, probably was about 20 inches tall. It was not like a short throw like you'd see in today's cars. And it had a really cool whine sound as you would speed, as you would accelerate. And I'll try to duplicate. It goes, woo, and then you shift. Dun, dun, woo, dun, dun, woo, dun, 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 woo, and it was really cool. So I could always hear when my father was coming or going because of that very unique sound that they had. So anyways, I wound up after it needed I think it was a half shaft or a CV joint, CV axle. And then I bought my first car with my own money, which was that 280ZX. It was gorgeous. Those cars are so sexy. They kind of took some styling from the cues from the E-Type, the Jag E-Type. Real long hood, hatchback, T-tops, two-seater only, 5-speed manual transmission, front engine, rear-wheel drive. Just, that's it. That's chapter 1, verse 1 of sports car. So it had a 2.8 liter inline six, which just was bulletproof. Loved that car. Then I got rear-ended in it. Man, years. I had it for a few years. I wish I could pop up some pictures to you, but I don't think I have very many pictures of that before our digital days now, where you document everything, much to the chagrin of younger folks that will be getting older and looking back on what they've done and posted. None of us are exempt. Anyways, when that one I needed to replace, I got a 1987 300ZX, which, if anyone's familiar with the Z car, we had the very much curvaceous European, sexy Japanese styling of the 280ZX. And they basically took out all of the curves in that car and replaced them with corners. So the 300ZX that came out in 1984 and ran up to 1986 was not a car that I wanted to have, but I did want to continue owning a Z. And the 90 Zs, which were out at the time, which were, they were unbelievable. 300ZX was, you had twin turbo. It was very, even by today's standards, a very modern looking car, way out of my budget. So I found a 1986 300ZX. And like I was saying, the 84 to 86 model was really angular looking. Well, they did a nice refresh on the 300ZX with the, I don't know what they call it. I think that's the 731, Z731. I'm sure one of you Z guys out there will correct me. You can put that in the comments. But they basically smoothed out those curves. They're not as harsh. They still had pop-up headlights, but instead of combining the auxiliary light and the main headlight side by side, you had a nice wider headlight on the top, which was pop-up, and then the fog lights below it. It had a leather interior. It even came with the latest technology. There was a phone in the console, which means you couldn't store anything, but you had a phone. And you couldn't take it out of the car. It was connected. You still had those little cable things, little springy cable things that was connecting the actual handset to the car. But it was cool. It had a speaker. It was built into the phone. And it had a digital dash. It was just a really cool car. I enjoyed that. Then I got rear-ended again. So obviously there's some commonality between those accidents, including the fact I've got hit by behind and it's not me just brake checking. I was driving home in rush hour traffic all the time. So there was already a higher chance of that happening. After I moved on from the 300ZX, I bought a Pontiac Sunfire convertible. No, I'm sorry. I bought a 280ZX turbo. Speed, fastest by far of any car I had. Had a great turbo line. I bought that from a mechanic who had, made that car pretty rock solid and pretty fun. So anyways, I'm winding up now telling you about cars. So you can tell I've got a passion for vehicles, and I just felt like sharing some of that history. I don't know. Maybe you'd like to hear more. Maybe I should do some things more interactive, but let me see. Do I have anybody watching? Oh, wow. There are 2 people watching. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for that. If you want to put a comment in, I'll be happy to respond to it. But that's pretty neat. I have 2 people watching. That's fantastic. So anyways, I don't know which way you'd rather me go. I do make some videos to show how I do things on cars because I am not a mechanic. I'm no ASC certification. I just figure if it's broken, I can't break it anymore, right? Okay, obviously you guys know that's very possible and most likely. But I have had enough experience with vehicles that I'm pretty much past the curve of causing more damage to vehicles than what it's worth. So I have incorporated some of those, and I've got some really cool, goofy stuff that I've done over time. One, my son and I were caught in a hurricane, and we drove up to where my parents lived. It was a common flood area, and we just parked and videotaped it because it was literally like a river. It was unbelievable. And the drone's been a lot of fun. So if you come back and check a few, I actually flew through some fireworks, which, it was later in the evening. So I guess there's some question about being able to fly the drone, in dark things like that. But I figure, I'm videoing people who are blowing up explosives and fireworks, which is illegal in our state. So I figured, what the heck, I'm not doing that. But if in the spirit of the 4th of July, I wanted to break law too. So I did make some pretty cool video footage of that. And I'm starting to dabble a little bit in some of the editing, adding music, intros, trying to learn by doing. So this is the point of this video right now. I wanted to see if I would be comfortable addressing an audience without being hummed and hawed. And now we got 3 people. 3 people. I was almost certain I might lose one of you guys. So we gained one. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. So I wanted to see how comfortable I would be in front, natural, without a script, on the video, on camera, on YouTube, streaming live, where there's no room for error. It's recorded. Anyways, if I don't know if people pop up on this, if there's a way to see if there are comments. I'm looking right now. I don't see any comments. I hope the audio is clear. I'm not up, but maybe just at the beginning dots of my microphone. So I'm a little disappointed in that. I'm wondering if I play this back, will the audio quality be poor? Let me see if I click on this thing, if anything pops up. Oh, nope. Send feedback. Sorry. Cancel. Yeah, that's noob for you right there. So anyways, I will be closing this out and checking the audio to see if it's horrible. And if it's horrible, I'll probably delete it. If it's decent, I'll just let it stay up there. And maybe some of the folks that watch my stuff later could give me feedback on it. So, all right. Thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate you joining me on this short live stream. All right. You guys have a good evening. Take care.